Hey Stephen, I've looked over your lesson plan and here's my feedback. From what I can see, this looks pretty good. I tried to copy and paste this URL to see what the handout looked like, but it wouldn't work. So I can't really provide you any feedback on that, okay? But let's start from the top. I really like that you're starting class off opening up for them to think about the information they've received, in what way they've received it, how it was interesting, things like that. And I also like then that you transition that really fluidly into why was that information important? Was there anything that stood out? And then, so that transition worked really well, so that, because I know where you're leading them, right? Like, oh, the information matters because it was interesting. It was from my dad. He knows I like motorcycles, things like that. So you'll need a little bit better of a transition in here. So inform them that the reason why information might seem interesting is due to the fact that people have considered who their intended audience is. And then transition them right there. Right? So let's practice looking at an article that has a very specific intended audience and see if we can understand who that audience is. But really, Stephen, that's kind of a nitpicky thing. I really like what you have done here a lot. So good. So you've got the article, and I know you've got them filling out some kind of a graphic organizer. And you've picked a really good article, too, because it has some really blatant, explicit pieces in there where they can pick up what's going on, who it's written for, okay? So this one I didn't have. Continue with the figure asking students each question but answering them yourself. So that one I didn't quite have, but it seems to work them through like the subject, or the topic, and I'm presuming, picking up some loaded words or phrases, something like that, to tell that he's passionate. And then you transition them into, good, so what's a topic that you feel passionate about? If you were going to write to someone, who would you write for? What would you write about? So I really like that part. I think that's really well done, and I love the fact that you're thinking specifically about walking around the room and helping the students. One thing that you want to think about is some kind of a differentiation piece over here. You'd be surprised how many students get hung up on just choosing a topic. Like, they get paralyzed. I think Emma was talking about that in class one day. Like, just the notion of choosing a topic was just so overwhelming to her. And so could you have, a handout that has some really broad topics on it that people feel like they could at least choose so that you can get them going. But other than that, like I said, those are kind of nitpicky things. I think this is a really well done lesson plan. Thanks.